What does pride mean to you personally?
It's interesting because my first pride, I think I was 15 or 16, and I went as an ally, right? I had a boyfriend, but he also wanted boyfriends, but he realized that was a dangerous place to be in the world, and his parents were very conservative and would kill him, So I enlisted in the cause and just went as an ally. And for years, even though we always used to joke that I was barely bi, right? Because I'm mostly straight. But also, I just have such long periods of time where I just have better things to do, right? And as the years went on, that upsets people, when you're not buying into the heteronormative strict binary or even, a queer, well, why aren't you seeing somebody? Why, bisexuals don't matter and they don't really count, they're just confused. And truly, just sometimes I don't care, right? I want to live my life and I don't want people feeling so entitled to an opinion to something so personal.
Especially about you.
Well, especially about me. I mean, anybody, but but it and because of that, I think I came to it as a bit of an outsider, right? Where it clearly this wasn't for me. But then as the years went on, I'm like, no, wait a minute, it really is. What with bi erasure and the aromantic and asexual spectrum erasure. I never felt like I had a specific place on that, because if I was in a relationship, that was one thing, and if I wasn't, I was busy doing other things. But it never felt like the umbrella was big enough for me.
Yeah.
It's funny, and saying that, I realized I wanted to be under that because that was my community, right? Most of my friends and the people I loved, and now my children.
And served too.
Pardon?
You did a lot of serving.
Oh yeah. I worked with the AIDS Prevention Theater Troupe, right?
Mm-hmm.
And did some drag shows, as the straight girl. But yeah, so it always felt like, these are the people who understand me best. So then when I realized, maybe other people need to hear that, even if your sexuality and gender or whatever is a moving target, you can still be part of this community because really it's about acceptance. So so it's nice to be there.
Yeah, it's beautifully worded.
Thank you. And thank you for asking.
I always love hearing from you. All of your tangents. I feel like you have the most organized tangents out of everybody that I know.
Well, I don't know what that says, but thanks.
Can you share a story about a moment where you felt empowered in your identity?
Right now, really? Because, and it's interesting because even though I've had conversations with friends over the years, right, about how, sometimes I'm on, sometimes I'm off, right? You and James were really instrumental in helping me realize, you're on the gray spectrum, and there's other people like that. So just being able to know that, I wasn't broken, right? But
or that outskirts.
Or just so far out of the ordinary, right? Yeah.
I know we've had a few different discussions around, particularly when you were with Pride Across the Bridge, around is this really my community? Does asexual count?
Right, and because it's not 100%, right? There have been lots of non-asexual times in my life, but just knowing that there was space.
I can feel that.
Thanks for bringing me into the space.
Makes me very excited to have you here.
Thank you.
What does a safe and inclusive world look like to you?
Oh, well, it's a world where I don't worry for my children leaving the house and going to interact with people. It's a place, so not just safety, right, and a lack of hate crimes, but also a place where maybe people just don't bother as much about it, right? Not just, where you are, they're gay, or I have opinions about someone being trans, but just realizing it's not really your business, right? Like even because even someone like me who usually passes quite nicely as a, cis het woman, to have people just care and have opinions about that just really irritates me.
It's damaging.
Yeah, because we've got other problems. We have other things to do, right?
So many.
There's, the full spectrum, and there's citizen science to be done. There's burning issues we have politically and socially, and there's art to do, and a climate to potentially save, and and why we focus on such a small part of who we are has always, it's always vexed me, because...
That's a wonderful way to put it.
Thanks, yeah. Just like, why do you even care?
Yeah. What advice would you give to someone who's struggling to embrace their identity, and as a mom of a trans son?
Oh, well, and people always say with my trans son, like, you're so lucky that you've got your mom, right? Because so many people, again, with their stupid opinions about stuff, get so angry at their children, right? And Morgan himself, my child was disowned by his father. And it just... So I guess my first advice, to go to the actual question, my first advice is find someone who's supportive, right? Even if it's just one or two people. If you are young and you're in a situation where you are under someone's roof and they're not safe, do what you have to do for your safety, right? I mean, my heart says, be yourself, be open, but that's not always a safe thing. So be strategic. And if you need to protect yourself by, fitting in, I guess, wearing that mask, do that, but keep it in your heart of who you really are, and don't buy into the, oh, you must be this way, and that you have to choose, and you have to be this way, once and forever, right? If you're in a safe place, explore how you're feeling to your heart's content. If you're not in a safe place, please stay safe and start making a safe place. Because there are lots of people in the world who are going to love you, right? Stay safe, be safe, and when you can, be yourself.
I love that. I hate that safety is such a big issue for our community.
I hate that safety is such a big issue. Well, and even, coming to this, they're playing in the back of my mind, is this a safe thing to do, right? Because it's public and people can find out, someone who's not perfectly straight, someone who doesn't want to live and die in the bounds of a romantic relationship, and it's not dangerous, right? It doesn't hurt society, especially in today's society where we've got so much overpopulation, and the patriarchy is hopefully coming in for a tumble, because we can't control people to this molecular level that we want to, right? We need to let people be who they are and be free to do so, and to be safe in doing so. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
Can you share a memory of a moment when you felt a strong sense of belonging within the queer community?
I go back to, different shows, right, that I've done, because shows have a very encompassing and inclusive feel to them. But really, I'm going to go back to last summer's Rainbow on the East Side. I think that the artist reception for that, which allowed me to see myself in a new way with my art, right? Because I was, I'm not really an artist, I'm a bit of a writer and an actor and, blah, blah, blah. But to be like, oh no, I guess what I'm doing actually is art.
I'm in a gallery now.
And look, I have validation. I'm now in a gallery. And to have taken that step too, to be like, you know what, I'm going to come right out and publicly decry for the entire world that this is who I am and this is my art. And but it was lovely. It was such a beautiful and welcoming place to be, and seeing so many other artists. It was enchanting, and I felt included. It's nice.
I'm really glad. I think that space is incredibly rare and treasured. I always look forward to the receptions.
Yes, yes. It was good. So
If you could talk to your younger self, what would you say to them?
I actually just finished writing a story about a girl who turns into a dragon. And we start the story, and she is very upset because her mom turns into a dragon, and can you imagine? But as the story progresses, and there are adventures, and she saves the day with her little brother, and turns into a dragon. And part of the story is the family, the mom and the kids talk about different kisses, There's butterfly kisses and dragonfly kisses and raspberry kisses, right? And, and they go on about it. And she saves her brother with her first dragon kiss. It's very healing. But then, so at the end, she says, "And so, gentle reader, I'll give you a kiss, if you will allow it. A kiss made from the words of a dragon girl who hopes her story will move you to make your heart accepting of all the different ways people may peaceably express themselves. A kiss of dragon fire to shield you from the malice some might throw at you, to inspire you toward kindness, and to become the tiny dragon that whispers in your ear, reminding you that you are not alone every time you stand to say, 'This is who I am.'"
That is stunning.
Well, thank you.
What a powerful close.
Thanks. I was happy with it, and I'm happy with the story. It was my dragon girl. Yeah, so that's what I would tell my younger self. I would tell her a dragon girl story and let her know that it's okay. You're peaceably existing. That's why.
So much.
Yeah, that's, anyone who has a problem with that is a problem. So, yeah.
I'm excited for your audiobook.
Thank you. I'm excited to make it. And it shouldn't take long. It's only like 20,000 words, so it's reasonably short.
Our community is so diverse. How does your intersectionality influence your experiences within the LGBTQIA+ community?
I think as a cisgender white woman, I feel I have to be, and a mostly straight cisgender white woman, I want to make sure that I don't kind of project that over anything, right? I want to make sure that I'm being inclusive and not kind of flaunting my privilege.
Mm-hmm.
And fortunately for me, right, I've always had a real interest in other cultures and other ways of being, and just, hey, how do you do this? How are you going through life? So it's reasonably easy, but also just something I try to keep in mind, right? I think sometimes as the maybe straight friend, right, and not really straight, but nominally, right, people look at me with a group of theater people, and if I have a boyfriend, it's like, oh, she's the straight friend,
Mm-hmm.
she's our token straight. And for so long I just wouldn't say anything because, who cares, for one, but also I didn't want to kind of take up any of the other space. And I, had friends in the early days of AIDS, right? So there was still people getting sick and worrying about dying. It always felt like there were more important battles. So, yeah, I don't know. I feel I didn't say anything, I don't know, interesting. Or
There's no
like,
pressure.
it just feels like it doesn't matter, I guess. I think just minding my empathy, right? Because you see people who have been treated without empathy or with downright hatred and abuse because of who they are. So just trying to be a kind, safe space for people to exist.
It's needed.
It is, and it irritates me that it is, because this should not be it shouldn't be the exception. It should be the rule, that people are kind, that people are accepting. Yeah, because there are so many more interesting things about me, just in the fact that I'm going to be kind and accept you. Right? Like, let's talk about all those other things, and, or make up silly stories, or, go climb a mountain, or do something fun, or even cook a meal, right? It would be good if everyone you met, you could just assume that they were going to be kind and accepting.
Mm-hmm.
because that's the way our mom has raised us.
Yes.
So, yeah.
How does your identity show up with you as a parent, as a artist?
It's interesting because, part of me thinks, well, it doesn't really, right? Just because it is such a gray area. Although looking at it, right, I remember when I left the kid's dad, very consciously thinking, I am not going to be dating for a very long time because I need to focus on my kids. And I know for some people, just the mere idea of that is, well, what do you mean? You have to have a partner. How can you get through life without a partner? And also, I guess the way it impacts going through the world and being a mom is that they felt they could come to me, right? Early on, when Morgan started dressing in more male clothes, more masculine clothes, and wanted a short haircut, it was fine, right? It's like, well, yeah, of course. We'll get you whatever clothes you like, and we can cut your hair however you like. And at every step, I would always say, well, whoever you are, I love you, right? and they would even joke about it sometimes, I'd say like, well, and they're like, I know, Mom, you love us whether we're gay or straight, whatever our gender identity, and I'd come back with, just like, well, yes, yes, I do. But I think that gave them a safe space, right? Because their other parent wasn't safe. And some of the people in my family we were worried about, right? And I had to tell them, I had to say, look, if they decide, like my dad and my brothers particularly are a little conservative, so if they decide they don't want to have anything to do with you, then they won't have anything to do with me, right? And just kind of be like, this is the ride or die, and I am on your side, child. So yeah, I think for them they didn't have to worry about it, really. And we're also able to bring their friends in, be like, hey, here's someone who will accept you for who you are, right? So it was an honor, really, to see some of their friends be like, oh, well, I guess if you're okay with it, then I can tell you this is who I am. And I actually had a friend brought their friend over one time, a young person brought another young person over, and I said, oh, hi, and we were talking, and I said, and what are your pronouns? And they just stopped, and they said, I've never said this before, but they are she, her. And we had a lovely chat, and I outfitted them with some old girl clothes that I had, and had, just a wonderful, girly dressing, and, we played dress up and helped them figure out how they wanted to navigate their world. So I guess, yeah, it's an honor, and it's also the least I can do, right? So I feel happy that I can be that safe space, but also, why is it a big deal? Because it shouldn't be.
Yeah. I'm glad that you were someone that they were able to comfortably share that with, and that is a wonderful gift to be able to share with someone.
I'm
That's a lot
happy
of
to
trust.
hear that. And I'll tell you what, there was a J. Peterman red silk dress with white polka dots that was absolutely perfect. And a year later, they wore it to their church, their childhood church, as themselves. And
Holy cow.
yeah, it was really cool.
What an honor.
I wore the dress.
Yeah. That's my dress.
Yeah, well, and I actually told her, I said, I outgrew this dress years ago. I said, but, I've been waiting for a specific woman to give it to.
Yay.
So, I'm like, you are the woman who will do justice to this dress.
It's powerful.
Yeah.
And wonderful piece of memorabilia for her, too.
Yeah, and also, it was just a really cool dress, too. It was so cool, I hung on to it even though it didn't fit. So
I feel like we all have some of those clothes.
Don't we just? So yeah, it was nice. And I know that was a total other tangent, and I forget the original question, but there you have it.
I love hearing from you.
Thank you.
It's a wonderful story. I haven't heard that one. Last question is, what message would you like to share with others in the LGBTQIA plus community?
Keep fighting the good fight, right? We have so many people who are still trying to make things more difficult for queer and trans. Trans is the new bugaboo, right? But just the fact that people are trying to, pass these bathroom bills, and oh my God, the trans military ban hurt my family personally so much because Morgan's financial aid evaporated.
Yeah.
It's just, I guess, just remain vigilant, keep fighting. Be kind, of course. Celebrate your wins and your relationships and your friends. But yeah, keep politically active. Please run for office. Join your city council. Be part of a school board if you can, wherever you can, because we've got so many ultra conservative people, pushing their book bans and their hate-filled agendas, and they don't get tired, right? They just keep at it, and they become city council members, and they run for mayor, and they do everything they can, just at every turn. And oftentimes we're busy living our lives, right? Like I've got work, I've got, my own life, I've got whatever that entails. There's just so much that we're doing, but make taking care of the political process and the space part of what you do. And if you can't do that, do some citizen science.
Yeah.
Because we should all be doing citizen science. So yes, go forth, not just vote, but become involved politically at your community. Do whatever kind of outreach you can because people need help. I don't know. Stay awesome.
I love it. Thank you. It really means the world to me
my
that you're
friend.
here.
Huh?
It means the world to me that you're here.
Thank you for having me. It's an honor, actually, to be able to be here. A, chat with a friend. B, stand up and say, I'm part of the queer community. Damn it, leave us alone.
Let me nap.
Yeah, exactly. Mommy's tired and has arthritis now. We're started has arthritis now, and she has stories to finish, and house to clean. So yeah, and and still children who need care, and who I worry about every time they step out the door. Because and as a parent, you're gonna have worries no matter what, but everything about your child that is slightly different and that becomes a place for bullies and bigots to step in and hate them indiscriminately is it's just added worry and stress.
Yeah. It's an exhaustive place to be as a parent too.
It really is. Because you never know when your kid's going to come home with, oh yeah, I had people throw garbage at me today. I was beat up today. I was assaulted today. Or maybe they don't come home.
Yeah.
Right? I just want my boys to find and follow some bliss.
I think we all need that.
Yeah. So, and just, because life is difficult enough, right? And yeah, just having those extra worries of, oh yeah, someone might hate me and try to harm me because I'm different.
Yeah.
I like different people.
What is your saying that you grew up with? It was the you've never met a stranger.
Oh!
What was it?
It was someone describing my dad. It was his wife. She was in Moscow years ago with part of her work. And she made journal entries, and I found them after she died. And one of the things she said was, walking down the street today and, and just looking at all the different people, she says, I wish that Jim could be here because he has never met a stranger, right? And I so internalized that at an early age, right, that we take care of each other. And I remember one time, I was maybe 4 or 5, and my dad said, hey, go say hi to, to those people over there. And I was suddenly shy, right, which wasn't usual for me. I said, I'm feeling shy. And he said, oh, sweetie, he says, everybody feels shy, he's like, but can you imagine if you felt like this all the time? Wouldn't it be nice if someone, reached out and, just said hello and was kind? And those words stuck with me because I was like, oh, yes, I will. And I went and, greeted these new people as my dad had me do. And, and afterwards, just that smile of, see, you could do that. But it really kind of became a mission for me, that if there is an outsider, right, if there's someone new to a group, right, someone's feeling a little insecure or they're having a hard time, but it costs you nothing to go and be a friend, right? Go be supportive, get to know them. Because, it sure would be terrible if you were a newcomer or you were insecure or struggling and there weren't friends.
I think you carry that on your arm.
Thanks, I do, and I'm proud to, right? It's something I've tried to instill in the boys too. Of, hey, it might be hard, you might feel awkward, but be that person who says hello, make the overture, go make a friend, because you never know who your next best friend is going to be.
Thank you.